Can somebody please confirm that I actually can be heard this time? Uh, I feel like I'm literally about to lose my tonsils. I mean, guys, I was going. I was literally going. And the sad part is not even a recorded video. I tried to even look to see if it was a recording um, to go ahead and post it, or like premiere it or something. But that wasn't the case. It's nowhere. It was just like on OBS it said it's streaming, and then on YouTube somehow the stream was paused. I have no idea. Hello to all of you again, guys. For the family, I'm willing to go through this whole journey again, and you guys have no idea right now. Every inch and part of my body is so disappointed and let down. I oh my god. I mean, I was putting on a show, guys, and we're gonna do it again now. It's always never hate what happens, because at the end of the day, it might be for the best interest overall of the overall thing. So I'm glad that people can hear me now. Um, Let me see who's in here to say hi to people first. Make sure, and I'm gonna keep coming back to this screen just to keep making sure that they don't stop me, or something doesn't just happen. I mean, guys, I swear it was since I said on Discord, you guys remember on Discord, I said everyone live like at 6. And by the time I finished, I looked at finally I was able to look at the comments, because I didn't look at the comments at all. I was just going on a show. And next thing you know, at the end, I was met with no stream. When are you going on, AB? And I was like, no way. After all of that, I felt like a Whitney Houston performing in a backstage with nobody seeing it. But nevertheless, family, your encouragement, your having you guys here with me is more than enough. I'm gonna go through this again. I will do this again. We will do this again, and we're gonna make the AB stream great yet again. Let's go, AB. Let's say hi first to the people in here. Oh my God, if you hear my voice is blown, it's because I truly was going all in on the behind the scenes stream. Tell Dog, what's up, brother? Monty Barger. Hey there, sir. How are you? Hopefully now you get to enjoy this stream. We have some good stuff coming at you. Hopefully my voice doesn't completely, like one of my strings, my chords don't just get ripped off due to the last stream. Leah, always lovely to see you in here. Thanks for the encouragement, guys. I am getting pumped up again to do this uh, once again. D. Robinson, how are you, my friend? Jam Bams, always lovely to see you. Thank you so much for the support. Um, Menji BN, I know it's okay. It was just like, you have no idea, like an hour and a half of doing a show to myself. That was the tip and spear. So now I might have just hurt myself, because people are like, okay, are we really gonna see a stream now? Um, So, anyways, saying quick highs, and I'm gonna jump right into this, guys. I'm gonna come at you with so much in this flow, and I hopefully, like I truly, from the bottom of my heart, ask that one, you hear this to the end, because this applies not only for GME. What I will tell you by the end of this stream, you are gonna see what they did in bbig and what they did with GME. At least try to, and what they're gonna try for sure to do with AMC on Pounce announcements. I guarantee you, we will look at it when that moment comes and know what they're going to do exactly. I personally know what the other side's actions are and how they're going about this war, and try to make people cave in. But if you looked at my phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you would know why I said that we passed phase 3, and this is phase 4, and we're going to be in 5 soon. Phase 4 and 5 are much quicker, and you'll see by the end of this video, you're going to walk, hopefully you're going to see the writing on the wall, and you're going to be like, oh my God, yeah, these bloodsuckers, these thirsty bloodsuckers, are actually going about it this way. Okay, don't worry. All of this is bullish. What I'm going to show you is what they're doing. It's going to make you feel disgusted, but in the same time, it's all you need to know from this point on out. What's up, Frankie? Always love to see you in here, brother. Nice to see you. I peed in Kenny's pool. Mrs. Veronica Chase, I literally gave you a shout out on the first stream, thinking that you could hear me because you were one of the people that, you know, commented before clearly before I popped on. Mr. McCowan, thank you for your support, brother. Appreciate you. How are you doing, sir? And without further ado, guys, like I said, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, so more people can see this. And if you could share this afterwards, if you feel it was worthy enough, please share it with as many people, because the last thing I want is if any vultures out there or whatever to just come in on a smaller channel and go ahead and try to take analogies and say, oh, this is ours, and put their name on it, which is what has been happening lately. And I don't care much about this whole credit thing and all this stuff, but it's just when they take my stuff and other YouTuber stuff, they normally don't even do it justice in the explanation what is going to be talked about, and they're going to confuse people even more on. So without Mr. Panulo, I was able to catch you before I dive right in. Without further ado, look at this. This was back on Wednesday. As you can see, before we start off with the GME talk, because all this is going to be related to AMC, and also I'm going to show you in detail, step by step, what they did with bbig and how they got it to that point. However, this was a video back in July 20th, 2 days ago on Wednesday, and we were toward the end of that stream. I was breaking down. Everybody hears me, right? I'm live, right? I was we got to the segment where people were asking, what do you think the price will go to? I don't play that game. I don't like to play it. But as a day trader, I always told people that the way that you read technical analysis, most intermediate or new people, I see mistakes that they make in reading technical analysis is this is all they look at right here. And it's not their fault. Why? Because they probably spent the first 6 months or a year of their trading, newly traded career, in learning charts, because they see many YouTube channels. Oh, okay, Fibonacci sequences and Elliott waves and all of this stuff, which is, again, is good. This is part of it, but that's not where it's all said and done. That's not where it's all finished. That's not where it's all over. This is only half of the equation, as I always tell you, my dear loved family members in here, all of you. This is only half of the equation. The other half is what? The options chain. Anybody that does not think that the options chain influences the stock price, I have two things for you. One, you're a newbie. Two, in due time, you would understand. If you'd stay within the market, you will learn this thing that I'm telling you right now. However, how did I, yet again, said that, hey, on Wednesday, what was going to happen on Friday in AMC, my thoughts, because we were having at that point 5 straight sessions from dating back to last Friday all the way up to that Wednesday, 5 straight sessions of from that Thursday, I think on Friday, but 4 to 5 straight sessions of green, and we're going to the upside. As you can see on Wednesday, we closed at 1752. It's much easier to predict the past than to predict the future. That's a very common sense thing, right? So let's hear what I said just briefly on what my thoughts were on the price on Friday. Yeah, as far as puts, most of the people sold their 15 and a half. Some are holding on to their 16. And 30 of the 16 and a half is gone. Tell Dog is okay. Tell Dog, please don't put those links in there anymore, brother. This is I want people to pay attention to this stuff. This is really big and serious stuff, brother. Just pay attention to these. If there's any shows that come in, and I expect a lot to come in throughout this stream, honestly, because there's going to be some big stuff, and it's going to explain to you all the writing in the wall, guys. I understand it's funny, it's cool, yeah, Rick Astley video, but I don't want people to look at that stuff. That's pointless right now. This is the stuff that we need to be talking about. No open interest, no open interest. Most of these got processed, I'm pretty sure. They sold. Wow. So overall, this is saying that the point that we're at today is most likely the point we will end up at by Friday. This is not financial advice. This is just since now we got into this. I didn't look at this. I was busy trying to connect that on the. Let's look at the calls first. You're gonna hear it right now, ladies and gentlemen. So, oh wow, people are still holding on those 15 and a half. So the combination of my technical analysis on the chart and reading the options chain gave me this following 16s beginning. Okay, 16 and a half. Okay. All right. So as of right now, as I speak right now, it looks like by Friday, their aim is to have us for sure under 17. As of right now, tomorrow the picture could get clearer. But as of right now, if I was to imagine or hyper speculate on what Friday would be, from their actions, it looks like 17 is going to be something that we're not going to go above. Wait for it. 16 and a half. We'll see the change on it tomorrow. And because they're not going to hold through them on Friday, most of these, if they're institutional or if it's, you know, who we think they are. 15 and a half is the most bullish one. It's kind of like on the options chain, the 15 and a half is our support line right now. You heard it, ladies and gentlemen, right there. I believe that's where we closed up today on Friday, 2 days later, was at the 15 and a half. Because again, all that stuff played big roles. The market maker has to hedge which options that go in the money, puts out of the money, in the money, out of the money, all that stuff that goes along also with this, whatever you're seeing here, support levels and resistance levels. You combine both analysis together, and what do you have at the end? A much higher percentage than a 50% guess, which is a good guess. It's better than I don't know, but 50% in real trading world, not beginner's luck or whatever, consists of something higher than a 50% guess on that stuff, especially if you're day trading. So I'll get this out of the way and let's dive into what I got for us as far as for GME and explaining everything to you and how this is going to relate to AMC. Also, what they did with bbig and what they tried to do today for GME and for AMC, and why I also think that you need to be completely ready to tie all your socks on, because ladies and gentlemen, things are real, moving rapidly real. So let's start with this. What was the GME split? Just to start things off, and we go from the 0.1 to ultimately the final stage. 4-1, meaning if you had one share prior to yesterday or the distribution, you will be getting 3 more shares, ultimately making it a total of 4, which at the evaluation of $152, they did the 4-1 split, making it $38. And yes, it did. In the pre-market, that's where it landed and where it operated from. Keep this in the back of your head, because this is going to be a big, crucial part at the end of why this is huge and why this is also considered, in my opinion, a potential forward-looking dividend. But you will only reap this dividend on the day of, and you'll see what I mean by that. Now, what does it mean for option players? If people had options on GME, you know, after or before the stock split, they want to know what will happen to their options. A lot of people have confusion about this. I heard a lot of questions about that. I just want to put it down for you. The answer is nothing changes. the value stays the same, but the variables change. So just like we did here, it was $152 for one share. Now it's 4 shares for the total of $152 at 38 apiece. If you multiply 38 times 4, that gives you 152, which is what the same thing with options. You will get 4 times the amount of contracts you had, but at the fourth of the strike. So that means when you do the new multiplication in the options formula, it's going to all equal to the same thing on the day of, which is today, of the transition. It's going to be the same thing. Now, here's where the controversial part comes in. What happens for the shorts? If I happen to be a short, in fact, I would like to use one of my friends as an example here. Hopefully you don't mind, my friend. I'm going to use Pantheon here. So Pantheon, let's say Pantheon is short on GME, okay? Guys, this is hypothetical. I love to play with my friends like this, and they could act with me like that, so they know what's up. I just want everybody else to hear to understand the inside jokes that we have amongst each other. So if Pantheon was shorting GME, and let's say he shorted it 100 shares prior to the stock split, what that means is that after the split, if they don't close their shorts before the split, after the split, they would have to buy back 400 shares whenever they close down their short position. Now, people are asking me, okay, so why did this not make them close? Because one, this was not a dividend payout, because GME needs, well, one, GME needs the money. This split, by the end of all this, you're going to see why this is good for GME and it's good for the investors. So it benefits both, because you're going to see all the content I'm going to bring at you, and you're no longer, after this, I want to say I promise, but I don't know who will understand what I will bring to you and who wouldn't have the capacity to, but the writing is all over the wall by the end of this, and I promise that you would have completely zero darkness in the back of your head saying, I don't know what is going to happen. No, I know what is going to happen. Personally, I know what is going to happen. This is not financial advice, guys. I'm going to tell you the breakdown of what they're doing. How you act and react on it monetarily or financially is all your business based on your own beliefs and thoughts and your own, obviously, DD. This hopefully can be part of your DD, and you make your final decisions on your own. So similar to the shares being split and the options being split, same thing with shorts. If they had 100 shares short on the position, the only time they would have to close it is either there is a dividend or a call back on those shares. If the lender of those shares calls those shares back, which in this episode, you'll see why for so many years, that's been a recipe for success for them. They never have to worry about any of that. And you will see it. It's all going to click. I promise you, it's all going to click. Just bear with me and make sure you stay to the end. Don't prejudge any of this stuff, because I have to bring you the story step by step. And ultimately, when I tie it all up together, it's almost like common sense. You'll see that it makes so much sense. So just like the stock split, option split, the same thing for the shorts. If they were short 100 shares, after the split, they will have to buy back. If they were ever to cover their position, instead of having to buy back 100, they would have to buy back 400 shares, but at the reduced price. So same thing. So if they had 100 shares short at $152 and they close at that price, it's the same equivalence to 400 having to close or buying back 400 shares at $38. Same amount. So nothing changes. The value is the same, just the variables are different. But this makes a huge difference. Why? Because unlike a reverse stock split, instead of you having less shares, you'll have more shares. We'll get to this point. Just keep this in the back of your head. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people don't understand. People just say, oh, shorts hold a position. None of us know what these shorts, what are they holding? We know some of them. Who are they? We know what they are. We know they have a short position. But with all the synthetics and everything, and then the fact that they don't share or report accurate crap, we don't know exactly how much. So we're going with just with what we know. And that alone, ladies and gentlemen, is more than enough, because by the end of this, again, yet again, I promise you, this stuff will be mind-blowing to you, this whole thing, throughout this whole thing, because I will show you examples of this in history, and I will show you examples of this in bbig, and what happened with bbig, exactly what they did, because it's easier to look at it now after the fact. And what they did today with GME and AMC proved to me 100,000% that's exactly their overall psychological take on how to deal with the meme stocks, which is honestly diabolical on their end. But after this stream, you're going to be putting your feet in ice cold water. Even if you don't like it, you're just going to feel like, oh, okay, I no longer have fear about where my money is, because most people have that fear of, do I have enough conviction in this play? Yeah, everybody says this and everybody says that, but we've been in this for 2 years. I'm here for you with this, with a second stream. So I'm sorry if my voice seems all blown out. It was from the first stream. So now that we got that out the way, the understanding of the theory that how the split affects the shareholder, the options holder player, and the short position. Everything changes for all of them. The value stays the same, but the numbers change for all of them. Now, I want to report to you here from square one. The SEC report that came out on the January run-up with GME said that January run-up was not all just short covering, but actually the short covering was the smallest part of that equation. Buying pressure, now this is in my opinion, and holding plus insider holdings I got also another one to show you. That was one of the tabs that I deleted as we were going. Simply, we'll copy this and paste it right there so that you don't have to. In fact, I don't have to do that. Plus, insider ownership and hold link. We got that. And heavy option call exercising. This was roaring kitties and Wall Street bets people that were causing this. I remember this. It was part of it. I've seen it, and I knew exactly what it was. People, when GME took off, it took off from the $17 range, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know, now you know. It's around $17.25 on that January run-up. And by the 28th, this is when it skyrocketed. And you're talking about in the pre-market, well over 500. But when the market opened, the highs that we've seen in GME was around 484 or 464, if my mind doesn't fail me. Again, it was a year and over a year and a half ago. But you got the figures. So what people were doing, which was very, 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 this goes into phase one, phase two of the video. So if you want to know phase two, go to the archives, look at phase two video. You will see, you'll understand this a little bit more, this part of the options exercising. But what people were doing, when they had option calls on this play, and it was like, this play was around 17 bucks. They went ahead, and when the price started catapulting to the top, imagine when the price was around 100. Let's say they had $40 strike price, which was way out of the money. Normally, just so you would know, guys, market makers hedge, delta hedge for many things, many strike prices that are very near the in the money. So when the price was around 17, the 18, the 19, perhaps the 20, maybe the 20, they would delta hedge against it if they see buying pressure and the likability of it going in the money by that expiration date on that Friday or that upcoming week. If the other stuff above it, like $30, which at that point when it was a 17, that market maker wasn't worried about anybody that was YOLOing money on a $30 strike price or a $40 strike price, because they were like, I'm not going to hedge for this. This is a lost cause. This is money in the bag. But the unthinkable obviously happened. And when we know for a fact that GME went up in the price, when it was around the $100, $200, $300 range, what many of these amazing people like the Roaring Kitties, what many of these Roaring Kitties, what they were doing is they were selling a portion of their calls, and with the rest, they exercise them. So they will be basically what they will be doing. One, they secure money. Two, the exercise. What does exercise mean? They exercise the right to buy those contracts in shares, but at the value of that strike price. So if it was at $40 and the price is at the stock is at 200, 300, or 150, they are forcing that market maker, obviously at that point, to go and hedge and buy shares for whatever the market value is, but they only pay the $40 strike price per share, further making the market maker accelerate the price to the top. You want me to give you a hint on why what the hell I'm talking about is accurate? Look what they did with Redbox when they said that option calls are to close only. You couldn't exercise them. Why? Because they took a page out of GME's drama in 2021 of January, and they knew what that could do to them. They knew a lot of people were in there and said, okay, we're not going to let that be the case. They made it come out from the broker's mouth, not from the market maker's mouth. But the brokers themselves knew that Robinhood, back in January, they said, we can't bring this money that these plays are asking us. So what did they do, infamously do? NSCC, take the button out, no more buying in, positions are to close only. Now they got more sophisticated. They were like, we can't just halt the play from only sell only orders, the whole entire stock. No, we want to also do it in another artistic, insidious way. How to do it? We'll just attack the options, because that's what they're worried about the most. You can sell your options, but you cannot exercise them or perhaps even buy more, you know? So that's what they did with Redbox. You see, you following with me right now? Because they learned from that GME run up. And my thoughts are, is I believe when these stocks squeeze, AMC and GME, if they were to squeeze, again, because I'm not a financial advisor, just have to protect myself, guys. That is something that they will practice with us as well. Will they do that? I don't know. But my hunch feeling on it, and I'm yet to be proven wrong on these, is that they would do the same thing when it gets to that moment as well. Because they have a lot of headache to deal with the stocks itself. They know that they can't let another of that happen, of what happened to GME January. I'm not obviously condoning it, but I'm just telling you that what you should expect, or what you could expect, because the punch that you don't see coming is the one that ends up hurting the most, right? So why did GME not jump all the way back down after that run up to the 400 and 300s, when it came back down briefly to the upper 30s, mid 40s, briefly, very briefly, and it skyrocketed again, leveling out around 100. And then in June of 2021, it ran right back up with AMC, and it even reached the $300 range again, itching it, and then came back down. However, it relatively held its average way above $100, majority of its trading since January. So the last time it dropped under 100 was back in March of 2022, just last run up. And it was around 77, $78, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when this stud right here, Ryan Cohens, came in with his board members and insiders and started scooping up shares. And he particularly scooped up millions of shares, adding up to his existing position to be the total of 9,101,000 shares, which is making him the biggest shareholder of GME, which is what he wanted, roughly at 12% in there. Why would he do that? Why are the insiders holding all their shares? Well, I'll tell you this. The insiders also approved, and we'll look at that right here. The stock split idea is part of the company's larger 2022 incentive plan. See, you gotta guys remember this. GME and AMC, where are they the same? They're the same as far as the short theses and the theory. Everything else is entirely, completely different. The fundamentals of both companies have nothing to do with the other. And where for GME, they had to do that share issuance to make that last year, to make that $1 billion cash that they're sitting on, that trove of treasure, the chest trove that they're sitting on. They need that. And unfortunately, also for them, this is why this guy, this Ryan Cohen guy, this is why I understand why everybody talks, like, remembers him and forgets about Matthew Furlong, is because he is I mean, he is the guy. Love it or love him or hate him. By the end of this, I promise you guys, I promise you, you're gonna view this man as a legend in the making. And I completely understand what exactly he's doing. I completely approve of this split after looking at it in the way that I'm looking at it, after seeing what they did with bbig, and I will tie it up all to you after seeing what they also been doing with AMC. All these fingers will point to the writing on the wall, and this stud down here have been planning for it for the whole time. He just can't come out and say it blatantly. I can't tell you financial advice, but I can speak on him. Who knows? He might reach out to me afterwards and say, privately, don't share this. But how did you know? You guys will all know now. You'll see. So why did it not drop all the way down back to the $17 level after the surges that it had? Because one, as we said, the insiders are holding, the stud is holding, and the shareholders are holding their shares. And the difference for GME is they need the money. They don't have the milking machine that AMC does. AMC has way better fundamentals as far as in its realm and it's in this world than GME, because AMC, one, is the apex, as we said many times before, of their environment and their ecosystem. No Mark or Regal theaters or whatever unknown theaters even stand a chance. That's one. Two, they have one Highcroft. They have interests in different industries. They're becoming a complete different company, and each single thing that AMC is doing is ultimately bringing back money and income to the company. And whereas for GME, one, they're not the apex in their ecosystem. They're in fact, they're trying to become an e-commerce company, which they'll definitely be at the bottom of that ecosystem. They will never be. They compare themselves to Amazon or whatever. They will never be an Amazon with this company like this. But again, for me, I'm not shit talking GME. I'm a huge investor in GME, and I'm a huge investor in AMC. I've said this many times before. So the subscribers in here know this already. I'm not shitting on GME. I'm stating the facts. And for me, I'm in this play for what? What, to go and hug a GME executive or some shit? No, I'm in this for money. And I was never personally, it's not in my blood to just put all my eggs in one basket, no matter how bullish I am into it. Because if you do that and the odds are, let's say the shorts do defeat you, where defeat the stock where you put all your baskets in, you definitely just got BBIG'd. That's why it's important for me to have more than one basket in case, just in case, we don't know the future all the way, that they do what they did with BBIG does not happen to me and I'm all into it. There's no, for me, there's no cult following. There's none of that. I see potential. I see profit. I'm all there. I don't need all the rest. You could toss it in the trash. For me, everybody, you're different. That's fine. You love a stock like it's your sports team or whatever. That's for you. Kudos to you. Perfect. Hopefully that stock squeezes. Hopefully whichever one it is, whatever meme, squeezes to unlimited amounts so that you can be very wealthy and happy and all that spiel. But if it doesn't, don't be mad at anyone else but yourself. You put yourself in that position. And again, this is a trading world. This is not fantasy world. So since GME knows it doesn't have the fundamentals of EMC, what did they have to do? They had to do something that we are seeing right here, the GME split. Why did they have to do this? You will see it right over. This is the ownership you see of these two, and these two are going to be big parts, guys. Why is Ryan Cohen, before I jump to GME's final, this tab right there, this tab is going to be one of the last ones I will show you. Why are these two highlighted right here? As you can see, Vanguard and BlackRock, they both are huge holders in GME, but who's over them? Normally, when you see Vanguard and BlackRock, odds are at any stock you go to invest in, you're going to see these two there. Why? I'm going to get to you with that. Now, who also knows the plan that I'm going to break down to you? This guy, Ryan Cohen. Ryan Cohen knows this in the back of his head years in advance, since even before 2014. Why? Because I'll tell you what happened in 2014 that no one else is also telling me, but no one is telling me. So these guys, Vanguard and BlackRock, the reason why they're almost in every stock is because they invest other people's money. Well, that part you already knew. Perfect. Here's where it starts getting interesting. The way that they make their money is not by, they didn't get to $10 trillion in assets under management and all that kind of stuff, basically just out of thin air. These guys, they have a pyramid scheme. How they make their money? Mostly is through a pyramid scheme of called what? In my words, it's called shares lending. They go and spread, and think of a fisherman. A fisherman throws a fishing rod, hopefully catches one fish. These guys, they don't, in order for their pyramid scheme to actually become profitable, they have to throw a big web. That way they can surely come, when they pull it out, they have not just one fish, but a lot more. And they constantly keep doing that and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Why do they, why does that feed into their pyramid scheme? Because they go and do this. Listen to this quickly. For one, mutual funds may overweight high demand stocks and bonds because they generate higher fees from short selling hedge funds. So again, they go and make big purchases in these stocks, big positions. Most of the times they're the top one or two in that stock, which Ryan Cohen did not allow. And they go ahead, and as soon as they take those shares, they put them right on the market for who? The shorts to short. Why? You'll see here. Securities lending, especially for money managers, keeping bigger portions of the fees from fund investors, could distort stock picking behavior and hurt the performance of the stock, said Travis Johnson, professor at the University of Texas at Austin. Now, at their research shows there's wrong way to do this. BlackRock in particular collects up to 30% of the securities lending fees and bias your investment decisions are. So they don't care basically who is investing with them, because odds are the investors who are giving them their money, they don't know what the company is doing with their money, like BlackRock and whatnot. And you remember a few months ago, they were coming out with these things, as in this bill that they're trying to pass so that it can make, and BlackRock was the first focal point in it and against it, most likely, again, because the investors don't know what BlackRock is doing. As long as they're getting returns, that's how they're getting it. But are they really acting in the benefit, to their benefit? Not really, because obviously you see that here, they lend all these shares, and if they happen to be invested in a stock that obviously the company is lending out the shares of, clearly the shorts have access to this. So the pyramid scheme works like this. Since the 2008 market crash, they came up with this thing and said, you know what? This is a money-making machine. We have a lot of money, these BlackRocks and Vanguard, and we'll get bigger. The more money we have in, the more money we buy, the more we buy from the assets. That's why you're wondering, like, why are they all over the place? Why they have that much? Like, what the hell is this? Well, because in order for them or for that pyramid scheme to be profitable, they need to be that big into all positions so that the payout can make sense. Now, BlackRock is the only person that actually makes 30% of those lend-in returns. So if they lend out the shares to this short, whatever the short fees are, BlackRock pockets 30% of that. That's ludicrous. And you're going to understand why this is really important. This is huge. As you can see here, Fidelity investments typically keep about 10%. See a huge jump between 10 and 30. And the rest it gives back to its the stockholder, the actual buyer, the person who actually owns the stock. And Vanguard does not charge a security lending agent fee. That doesn't make them a saint, trust me. Why? That's because Vanguard's setup is different. It's kind of like similar like to a nonprofit almost. They don't charge profit. They don't make profit. They charge as they go. So whatever the company needs as it's going along, it adds in as an expense and it deducts it from the returns of the company. So by the end of the year, they will be all taken care of. Whatever the CEO's amount is going to be paid, they'll deal with that. So it's kind of like an open check until it's closed at the end of the year, and then whatever is left is all profits for their investors. And since they have many shares and they lend many shares, obviously the returns are huge, meaning they will always return money to their investors. It's a pyramid scheme that is very leveraged to the benefit of the big player versus the small dog. BlackRock, and we're about, by the way, and we're about to destroy a lot of that. BlackRock funds and investors can get more income than rivals. However, because there is more securities lending revenue to divide, BlackRock's returns are often the strongest in the industry, says spokesman Tara McDonald. Clearly, why? Because they have the most. So since they lend out the most and they correlate, here's where it gets really interesting for you guys. They correlate, think of it like this. Here's a pyramid, 3 points. We're right here, retail investors. BlackRock is on the top. Short investors are on the bottom, other opposite end of the pyramid. We buy. These guys come in out of nowhere, make millions. You know how Vanguard had like 42 million, 44, whatever that amount was in AMC, million shares. And people are afraid, oh my God, if they dump all that, well, they won't. Why? These two entities, ladies and gentlemen, BlackRock, Vanguard, they are much bigger reason of why the squeeze have been taken this long. They're more to blame than the citadels and the other stuff. And I'll come to you for why. Because them and the citadels, as I told you on that pyramid, we're buyers, we're holders here. These guys are up here. And by the way, whatever brokers you were with, imagine if you were with Webull and Robinhood. They were just, if you were in a margin, remember last year, oh, it's margin account. So you're not able to, they're lending out your shares, get out of the payment for order flow apps or take off margin or whatever. Well, up till that point, these apps were not even giving you back. They were lending out your shares, which is illegal. Again, I'm not going to throw accusations, but you can only imagine that these brokers, these payment for order flow apps, what they were doing is they were lending out the shares as well. And the lending fees that were getting paid, most likely they were pocketing it themselves. So you didn't see any of it. And if you were purposefully lending your shares and you signed up for stock share lending program, since you're holding what? 500 shares, 200 shares, 1,000 shares, even if you wanted to be that person, what is your return? You're lending out your shares to earn interest so that shorts can short your stock for what? What is your return on those 500 shares or 100 shares? See what I'm saying? That's why the pyramid scheme works perfectly in these guys' advantage over you. Now, why they also went and jumped all over the chance of AMC and the other meme stocks and GME, why they jumped all over them? Because they know that the third partner in that pyramid on the opposite end of the bottom of that pyramid, the short, they need access to these shares. Now they know that we are not willing to give them these shares. Where are these guys, the shorts, going to get these shares from? Institutionals, like these two bloodsuckers right here, and brokers that are lending into them on our behalf or without our behalf in many cases. And these BlackRock and Vanguard, they know that this is high demand. They could charge higher premiums because there is higher interest rates on it. I'm pretty sure you've been following, you've been seeing, oh, the short interest is going higher and higher and higher. Who's that? To whose advantage? These guys, because when they lend the shares, they lend them for more premium. So ultimately, you come to the $1,000,000 question here, because there's many $1,000,000 questions in this whole thing, but this is one of them now. Why have we been, to whose advantage in this pyramid scheme that I showed you? To whose advantage is to drag on the play as long as possible? Definitely not this side of the pyramid, which is the retail or us apes. It's definitely the top, which is these two people, Vanguard, BlackRock, and the third player, which is the shorts. The shorts, why is it their benefit? Because they get to not get obliterated and get forced to close their shorts, at least till that point, or they're hoping never. And for BlackRock and Vanguard, they're saying, well, good, as long as we continue to provide so many shares, that's why they take huge positions in our companies, so that they can continue to provide more shares, making it accessible, making the shorts have access to all these shares so they can short them. And to them, they're like, okay, no problem. We're getting premium. We're getting the premiums on this. So the longer this drags out, the more money we make. And at this point, 2 years later and counting, they're like, you would imagine, did they reach their initial investment in the stock already? Because from the get-go, they never just was holding it just to hold it. Their plan, their whole pyramid plan is to make money off of lending the shares, straight up. And whenever they, say we want to call them back, it's because the only time when they will call them back is one, when they're not making money, similar to what we started here and lately. That's why I said it was phase 4 began. BlackRock reported that they're making 30% less than year over year profits or income, which means to them, this whole pyramid shit is becoming less profitable. And in fact, soon it will become even more of a big, huge loss. And since they've been lending the stock for almost 2 years now, at least let's refer to it as if for AMC and GME. Since they've been lending those shares for 2 years, they've been making money nonstop. We've been holding. These guys have been fighting. They need access to shares. These guys are the most leveraged, shorters, right? But they're so insidious up here, BlackRock and Vanguard, that is, because they know that we need the squeeze, so we're there to hold, which keeps the interest in the stock and the volatility high. And they know that this side needs shares and they don't want to get obliterated and get forced to cover. So therefore, they're good either way, whether this guy has to cover eventually or this guy gives up. They've already made so much money on lending out the shares. And over those 2 years, now, even if the share price of those positions that they took, even if it goes a little bit in the red, below their buying point, they can sell it, and still the amount they made in lending those shares over 2 years would offset whatever, and keeps them with a profit. And that's just been their game for years. It's not just started with now. They just love this meme stock mania because they don't think we understand this whole thing. I'm bringing it to you so you would see it exactly like in this breakdown, because it's going to lead us to many more things. So that was the first $1,000,000 question. To whose interest is it to get the play to be as long as possible prolonged? One, these BlackRocks and Vanguards, they make more money until it's no longer making them money, as we start seeing the cracks. Report of the last earnings, phase 4. Go back and watch phase 4 if you want to see the details of phase 4, guys. It's a cool video. So where am I now with this? So now you're wondering, okay, so we got the pyramid scheme AB. We understand that the shorts now have to cover 4 times the amount of the shares that is sold short, but at an adjusted price. Now, when Ryan Cohen went and him and the inside board, the insiders and the shareholders are holding GME, majority of the short shares are held, and even on an institutional level, is held by the insiders. And Ryan Cohen, again, the single biggest holder of GME's float, he knows that it comes with something. What is that something? Back in 2014, ladies and gentlemen, something happened that was like crazy, right? If you weren't in the trading world back then, you would know this, or you wouldn't have heard of this. Some of you might have, but here we go. This will show you why Ryan Cohen has been a stud for years now and why he's been actually planning. And I'm breaking down to you his plan step by step. No, not just saying, I believe in Matt Ryan, and not Matt Ryan, and Ryan Cohen, therefore I am. That's not obviously what most people are saying. AB doesn't do that. And I'm going to break down, as I'm breaking all this down, you will come with this conclusion at the end, knowing that this is exactly what this man has been planning for all along with the rest of his board, and explains why he brought a new complete board, his old board from Chewy, and why he approved that incentive plan and why he did the stock split. So back in 2014, we had a hedge fund called Casablanca Capital. It pursued a takeover of a coal producer called Cliffs Mines in Cleveland. And it was a crazy battle, and it was the most vicious takeover I could remember ever. I mean, this hedge fund literally took over and destroyed the shit out of this company. How did they do it? They first took a position in the company of 5.2% of the company's float, which was basically kind of around, it was one or the first, the highest, or the second highest owner of the float or investor in the company, which means they went ahead and submitted. Can you believe it? Out of nowhere, this hedge fund submitted files to the SEC and to the company. They sent them a whole letter. And what did they say in that letter? They wanted them to do everything. They wanted them to change the board members and putting Casablanca's own board members that they want to put on the board. And they told them, you need to go ahead and strip everything, every model of the company, diverse your assets in the Asian markets, sell the mine or the entity you bought. I remember at the time it was like somewhere down in Florida, or sorry, in Virginia somewhere. They owned a mine, or they bought a mine that was not bringing them money in West Virginia, right there. Yep. In Southwest Virginia and Alabama. And they told them, like, we need you to do all that stuff. What did the board of Cliffs do? They sent to the SEC as well, and they said this: the board of directors does not endorse the election of any of Casablanca's nominees and strongly urges you to vote for all of the 9 nominees recommended by the board of directors. You may receive solicitation material from Casablanca or certain entities or individuals affiliated with Casablanca, including a proxy statement and a gold proxy card. We believe Casablanca's nominees have, by virtue of their perception in Casablanca's proxy solicitation, which ultimately right here, they cap it off by saying this: we believe that the 9 nominees proposed by the board of directors are better equipped to serve Cliffs and all of its shareholders than Casablanca's nominees. You know what ultimately happened? You're going to love this right here. Casablanca ultimately got its wish and it took over that company. You know how they did it? 5.2% position in there. Voting rights, ladies and gentlemen. This is why, as I told you before, here, these bloodsuckers right here are huge. Like they're, if I had to compare them to a big problem in our whole movement, I can literally they're above Citadel and these guys. They're above anything because they're like they're up there with the ISDA banks and what they're doing, like the Goldmans and the Morgans. These guys right here are up there with that. That's how terrible they are. So how did they do it? Having that hedge fund Casablanca, having the 5.2% stake in that company, gave him voting rights, but also they knew that most of these shares, that most of these BlackRocks and Vanguards and everything that they had big positions in the company were lending out these shares, which means most of these people were not even getting the proxy votes that they wanted, that they can vote. So when these idiots, the board and the company of Cleveland, issued this whole spiel, it was nothing was done about it. Why? Here, Bruce Goldfarb, president of Apari Partners, so-called proxy solicitor, who rounds up votes in corporate elections, said the widespread lending of stock for short selling often factors in those elections. A common way this plays out, he said, is when corporate leaders forget that an asset manager may not have as many available votes as their listed portfolio holdings. So BlackRock, let's say it took a 5 million share position in GME and or AMC. Hypothetically speaking here, we know that it's more, but hypothetically speaking here, the company or the Fintel filings will show you that, oh, okay, yeah, they're 5 million, but they don't have 5 million shares that they will get requests for because they are lending these shares, if not all, majority of them out, therefore losing. When you lend your shares, whether you knew this or not, you waive your voting rights. Let me bring you guys a simple, nice hint as I'm going about this too. Remember a few months ago when the voting, when we had the proxy voting, and we had, I remember even Lou came out and said, "Where's my proxy vote? I didn't get no proxy vote." Well, if any Lou followers are in here, maybe you could get to him. Maybe you could tell him. I'm not shitting on the guy, but I'm just giving him some knowledge here. If you are purposefully lending out your shares, you're never going to get no proxy vote because you waived those rights. Your shares are not with you, lent. That's one. Two, if you didn't know and you're not purposefully doing it, that means you're most likely with Webull or Robinhood. But all along, you've been telling people, oh, switch away from payment for order flow apps, and they're going to break down and whatever, because you yourself don't know that they've been lending out your shares, because every person have shares gets a proxy vote, unless you waive those rights by lending your shares purposefully or indirectly. That's entirely up to you. If you didn't know it, now you know, brother. So anywho, continuing on, Goldfarb said that this probably happened in 2014 when he represented hedge fund Casablanca Capital in a successful takeover of Minor Cliff Natural Resources. So this guy is saying probably this is what happened, but he represented that company back then. This is crazy, isn't it? We wouldn't understand why the company was so confident. I mean, Casablanca at that time, and it was, I remember, like, this was crazy. Like, they were so confident about their actions and their proposals of the takeover, like it was going to happen. They were so public and vocal about it. And everybody couldn't understand why the company was so confident, as stated here, that it would win the contest. Said James Kirch, chairman at the time, and he declined to comment. Fund managers the recall loans out shares for voting, but that option is often weighted against the extra money to be made from securities lending. So now you got these, this is again, put this picture back on these bloodsuckers, these, the money they make on lending out the shares outweighs the voting rights and the proxy calling back. So they don't call the shares back. In other words, let's go back to our pyramid, ladies and gentlemen. Why is it so convenient? Back to that $1 million question. For this guy and this guy, for these guys, for BlackRock and for the shorts to continue this play on and drag it out as much as possible. One, BlackRock, Vanguard, they continue making more money. They love the premiums that they're getting back on these lending shares, because that way they go back to their shareholders and say at the end of the year, look what we brought, biggest returns. And then you got the shorts saying, yeah, we're going to continue to thank you for giving me shares, because now at least I have a chance of not getting obliterated, hoping that they can outsmart us over the long period of time. This is why I told you congratulations on phase 3. Go watch phase 3 if you haven't watched it, and you will see why I said congrats on passing phase 3, because if you pass phase 3, it's all downhill from this point on out, because these people now, the announcement of phase 4 from me to you guys was, in my words, in my own words, is that when BlackRock's and these guys started showing and reporting that, oh, a drop 30% year over year, we've seen what the banks did, Goldman, Bank of America, all the banks, all of them, all across the sector, Vanguard, it's no longer, this whole pyramid play is no longer profitable. This is why it is phase 4. And people will say, AB will never lead you on and say, in the next couple days, yeah, for 2 years, in the next couple days, March 3rd, whatever. Yeah, it's been in the next couple days. Don't worry, they're preparing. I'm hearing that a fund is whoop whoop and all this stuff. For 2 years, we've been led on the idea of the next couple days, or I think I got this or that. This stream, by the end of it, I promise you, is gonna change your mind on how you go about your expectations and how you go about understanding your enemy's moves so you can best gauge how to cover your bases, because that's what it's all about. If you know the punch and where it's coming from, you prepare for it. But when you don't know where it's coming from and you don't prepare for it, 9 times out of 10, it gets you BBIG'd. Let's continue on with this. So it makes more money for them to keep the shorts, their shares lent, than to call them back for voting rights. Then the regulatory disclosures suggest asset managers often choose the money. We believe that generally the likely economic value of casting most votes is less than the securities lending income. So to us, we rather keep lending these shares, and no, people won't get no proxy votes, and the people that invested with their fund to go and buy these positions, obviously. And that makes us more money, ultimately bringing more returns back to who? Who pockets 30%? These bloodsuckers, the BlackRock, they're 30% of that premium. So it's more better for them. You're getting cheated. Even if you're a BlackRock Vanguard investor, you got millions of dollars or whatever you got, and you think you're the shit, and they're bringing you back, whatever, at the end of the year, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10%. If you listen to this right now, you look really stupid, because they're taking your money and making more money out of your money for themselves than you are. Paul Hodgson, an independent corporate governance consultant, said most fund investors would welcome the extra revenue, but some would disappoint their manager had given up control of the votes. I think there would be a substantial minority of clients who would say, that's not why I invested my pension. So let's go back to Mr. Ryan Cohen and GME right here. Look how that will tie into this. The reason why he purchased this much, The reason why the insiders bought more with him and they've been holding. The reason why the GME shareholders, whoever you are, doesn't matter whether you're an elitist, GME elitist, whether you're a person like me who holds multiple stocks. I don't care about all the title and the drama Game of Thrones wars that between both communities or other communities. I don't care about all that stuff. Is any of that going to pay me? F no. Is any of that going to pay you? F no. What's going to pay you is the decisions that you make at the end of the day and how you view this. This is the stock market. Emotions are not involved in it. And if it is, sorry to break it to you. Sorry to be a little harsher than normally I am, but I'm always straightforward and I'm always unfiltered and I'm always real, and I don't sugarcoat anything. I keep it that way, straightforward. I am nice and all that stuff because I have respect. That doesn't mean I'm I'm not, like, you know, shrewd when I need to be. When it comes to business, I am not the AB, you know. I am very shrewd when it comes to it and all this stuff. I have values, I have principles and all that stuff, but I'm not no nice, just nice person. Yeah, let's get it over. Yeah. Oh, no way, no right, no vote. It's okay. Let's just get this deal going. No. That's not AB. Sorry. I literally can feel this tonsil, guys. This is the second stream. The real stream. Again, guys, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel and sharing this stream with so many people and everyone else, because so far you're more than halfway there and you see everything. In fact, I'm going to dive into showing you why this ties up right here, but I want more people to understand this, and I just don't want other scavengers out there to go and try to take my info and not even do it justice. If they at least give the credit, people can hear them when they do bring it out, and then they can also revert back to my channel and see what the originator of the content brought it out as, because I understand it the most, more than the copycats. So they don't do it justice, and that's what kills me, is that they put out similar thinking, but they don't understand the idea fully, because their thought process is about how can I get views? I need content, and that's why they're thinking of it. They don't care about what they're actually, the content that they're putting out. They don't understand it, and therefore their main attention is on views and ad revenue and whatnot and all that funny stuff. So since Ryan Cohen, I'm pretty sure, Ryan Cohen, if you're watching this, you know, follow me on Twitter or go to my Discord under an alias or something and say you are Ryan Cohen and tell me if I am thinking exactly what you are thinking. I have big reason to say that Ryan Cohen knew or remembers what happened in 2014 to this unfortunate Cleveland Cliffs, Cleveland mine. He knew and he remembers that story, and that's why it explains. It's so easy to see that those were the moves to protect against that. He bought most of these shares. He owns more shares, and he's definitely not lending those shares. We know that the rest of the board with him are not lending those shares because they're holding them. Why would they lend and hold? So they could get shorted. And obviously he has 9 million shares, over 9 million shares. That's a huge position. Clearly he doesn't want to take a loss on this. And they have, as a board member, he has the sworn in interest of always doing whatever is best for the company. Obviously, since he put that much money, he infamously said, I put my money where my mouth is, and he did it back then. And boy, what a stud. Because again, he remembered what happened back in 2014, about 8 years ago. Remember what happened with that takeover from that hedge fund and how they were able to screw over that entire company, brought in all their board in because they had majority of the stake in the company, and the voting rights were already waved away from many of the outside investors or retail investors because they're brokers or institutional investors that we're investing with were lending out these shares to these short hedge funds, the same one as Casablanca. And with that, they have waived also their voting rights, which is why in this article here you've seen, like, we couldn't understand as he said, he couldn't understand why that company, Casablanca, was so confident it's going to win the contest and the takeover. Like, it was just, it was weird. And then, fast forward, they took it over. Yes, indeed. And that's the way they did it. So Ryan Cohen here knew that these bloodsuckers right here cannot be, or any other hedge fund for that matter, cannot be a major player in the game, and it also ties into Dogecoin. This is why Elon Musk himself, remember over 2 years ago, back in 2020, toward the end of 2020, he was saying, I love Dogecoin, but I don't like how there's so much concentration on the top. Guys, this whole thing breeds into everything, into the crypto market, into the stock market. They use it everywhere. This pyramid scheme, they do it everywhere. And there are certain things that people can't say on that level, like what Elon Musk did. He said he couldn't say this is why they're doing it, but he said, I don't like that too much concentration. Robinhood holds what? The most amount of Dogecoins, the biggest wallet in Dogecoin. That means they control what happens with that coin for that time. So they wanted, he asked up on all these big 10 top 10 wallets to diverse their assets and to diverse their assets so that there can't be too much concentration on one end, meaning they have leverage on any given time. They can terminate the project and screw over the coin. So does this, how's that making sense? Look at that. I just broke down to you guys also, not, this is not everything, but I just broke down to you why this was huge to Ryan Cohen's plan on first having all the board members he needs inside that he approves of. He did that a while ago. Then he came in and convinced them with a new incentive plan. And I'll get into that tab just in a second to show you guys that tab. And ultimately, let me take these bloodsuckers out. There's no need. You're not supposed to see that. That was the last one. I'm going to show you what they did with bbig and what they tried to do to you today in GME. And if you pay close attention, you're going to be like, oh my God, I know what they're going to do with AMC on the Pounce announcement, or in fact, on the announcement of that, the earnings. I want to fact check me. They're going to do the same thing, and I'm calling their bluff right now. They did their thing with bbig and it paid off, at least for now. I don't know if people gave up and their diabolical plan worked, but for GME, it's not going to work because the consolidation is different. The players are different. The board is all on the inside house. The shareholders are confident and they're all, holding the shares. So the other side, the lenders, they don't have too much leverage. I just took them out, sorry. But the lenders, they don't have too much leverage because they don't have that much say or that many amount of shares to influence the lending activity, therefore applying more to the short thesis to get more shorted. So it explains why you see the price of where it's at 152, which is at 38 now, but that's not a drop. Now it's 38 times 4, it's 152. And oh my God, that's going to be the last knot on the present or the gift. Hopefully this is how I see it. It's a gift from me to all of you. And it's going to be the last final bow tie on the end. Guys, you need to be, if you're not already fired up about all this stuff and everything, you need to be, because this will give you peace of mind afterwards. I swear to you it will, as it did for me. So what happened? What did they do with bbig? Now you're wondering. You're like, oh, okay, bbig, what is wondering? I'm going to show you positions. I'm going to show you like what they talked, and I'm not going to cover articles. I'm just going to show you slides. It's going to be very quick. And I'm going to show you how it related to what these positions or their actions did on the chart, so that you know that I'm not just giving you a receipt or 1 or 2, but freaking 3. Hopefully that could be enough. We look over here on the holders of bbig. Remember this, Hudson Bay Management. At some point, they were the biggest holder of bbig, which was at 6.43%. Now, if we go back to this Fintel reports here, what do we see right here? Oh, wow. What are the odds? On the 16th of May. What happened on the 16th of May? That was 2 days before the supposed record date, which was May 18th. Of May 18th was supposed to be the record date for the distribution, just the beginning of the record date. So Goldman Sachs on the 16th sell all their position. Royal Bank of Canada sells all their position. These other small guys right here sell all their positions. Oh, what did that do over here? So Goldman Sachs, Royal Bank of Canada, and who is this? Hudson Bay on May the 16th as well. That's the people that I showed you right here, people. See that? Millions of shares. From here, comes down to here. Now we're at May 16th. These guys took their profits. Just follow along with me. Now, you're wondering, is like, what? Look at that. This went up right after the 16th. Why? What happened right after the 16th? You're going to laugh. Do you remember hearing this Susquehanna International Corp group? They came in, opened up stock. They bought 6 million worth of stock. I wonder who they replaced in this equation. Let's point these guys out right here. Where did they go? They replaced these guys, Hudson Group. So they come in on the 16th, Susquehanna, that is. Susquehanna, whatever you want to refer to it as. They suck anyways. So they open up a major put position. They open up a major call position, as you see here, and they bought hella shares. Who also happens to buy on the 16th? 683 Capital Management. They buy something very symbolic, 78,000 shares. They almost look so cute on this chart right here, next to these guys, right? These guys. Who else? Look, Susquehanna Fundamental Investment. So not only their international group, but their fundamental investments also. Who also jumps in on the 16th? The infamous Skinny G people. Citadel opened up a major put position. They opened up a major call position and also opened up a stock position. Not really major compared to the Susquehanna one, but still big, right? 125,000 on the 16th. Again, prior to the record or the record date for bbig. So all these came in on the 16th. What happened again on the 16th on the chart? You see where it went? Now, let me put you through this. As you see, it went up from right here where Goldman and Bank of Canada, Royal Bank of Canada, whatever, the ship back of whatever, and the other players that sold and brought it from here to here. Now you have these guys jumping in, Susquehanna, Citadel, and many others as you've seen on there, but we focus on those two because we know them the most. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I can't leave this last player out. You guys all know this one. Virtue also came in on the 17th, bought in almost roughly 400,000 shares. They were like, hey, we don't want to miss out on the play. This is why. So when Citadel and Susquehanna bought in down here, on the 17th, that's when Virtue came in. Guess what? Look where the price went up. What do you think they did? Why do you think they opened up huge option and put, like calls and put positions? Well, one, on the way up, they'll sell calls. They don't have to sell their shares. They hold the shares. Why they would hold the shares? So they can get the Cryptide spinoff. So they can get, for each 10, they will get one. And in fact, if you look right here, they, all the way until now, you don't see Citadel or Susquehanna sold any of their shares. Why? So they can hold it past the distribution date, and eventually they can play with all this calls. And look at this. This is beautiful put positions. All those major, the put positions they opened right here. 1 million Citadel put 593,000. Look at this. From these areas, you can only imagine how much money they'll make on these puts. Plus, both of those, they'll offset and make so much profit for them that they could last taking a hit on the shares that they bought into the company. And with that being said, they get tied. And what do they do when tide happens? BHP Capital just bought Cryptide stock ahead of a new distribution date. This was on June 24th. What happens after? That's one of the tabs that I lost from the first stream that I closed and didn't open up. What happens on June 29th? Cryptide, as soon as it began trading, it got shorted and it got dumped like crazy. 64% drop on the day of its landing on the trading market on the 29th of June. Crazy. And this is why you see all this stuff. So what did they do here, guys? Clearly, if you don't understand most of this, I'm pretty sure all of you have understood already what these guys were doing and how they were making money and how insidious it was. But what were they doing? They were putting on the facade knowing that you and everybody, because again, look at these times. On the 16th and the 17th, the 18th was the record date. Most people have this mindset and they put this mindset in your head. Today, I'm going to take the implant that they put in everybody's head. Indirectly, you didn't know that they put it there, but you helped put it there yourself. They programmed most people's heads to the idea of catalyst. We need the catalyst. We need the pounds. We need the catalyst. While all that is amazing, why have I, for so many months, telling all of you guys that the proof, like the proof is in the pudding. It's like it's right there in front of us. We have all the conviction. We have all what we need in the whole game for either AMC or GME or any of the other meme stocks. We have them over leveraged. The game is over. They're just trying to make sure that, hoping that you would lose your way on right before you go, like you take a wrong turn before you get to the city and which keys they were going to give us. And for me, I'm not getting no detour or nothing. I know where I'm going and I know what I'm going to take. But why? They know that you are thinking in the back of your head, oh, remember those articles that kept saying May 18th, record date for bbig. Same thing with GME. Split forward. Yes, it's going to be shorts are doomed. Shorts are effed. Even Shills came out and started and pumping that out a lot. Why? Because they wanted to embed that in the back of your head. What did they do on the 16th? They sold all their they sold all their shit, many players and many other big players, the players that are involved, Citadel, Susquehanna's, Virtue, they buy in on so many different puts, calls, and stocks and raise the price up. What day is this? The 18th. Guess who's here? Like, guess what they're trying to feed? There at that time, I remember, oh my God, look, the price is surging that day. Everybody was like, shorts are covering their shares. And then as soon as the market closed on the 18th, as soon as the market closed, bbig announced that it's postponing its distribution and didn't announce when. And it took a major dip after. As you can see here, constantly going down more and more and more, showing you that most of these puts, calls, and everything was all a part of the play, a part of the plan, and then holding their shares through the stock split. Not the stock split, but the issuance of cryptides. They also got many cryptides, and as soon as they received them, they dumped them all on the market, making cryptide on its debut go down 64%, and it continued to go down lower. And ever since then, BBIG has been on a downturn. Why? Because everybody was like, yeah, shorts are never going to cover. We're going to sell. I'm assuming many people did that. This is why BBIG is around the 90 cent right now. And they helped afterwards feed into the fear. So first they pump up your hype and then they feed your fear. How they feed your fear is by this. After the 18th, what have you seen? To this point. Down movement. So if you didn't call their bluff, and I think most BBIG community didn't, but I still have hope for the community. Personally, for me, I don't give a shit. I call their bluff, and I know that this is a bluff because I see the action. I see, like I just showed you what they're doing, and this is exactly what they did with GME today and AMC. If you say that they didn't, I don't know what you're looking at, or I don't know if you must have not understood a single thing I've been showing right here. But they did exactly the same thing. Try to make people, feeding people all along in the hype of the stock split, and then confusing people with some articles saying dividend. So people are saying they're going to cover. And on the day of, which is today, the price goes down. What do you think that causes? Major letdown to all the people that were heavily buying into the mindset of shorts must cover, shorts must cover. This is the catalyst. Well, honestly, guys, if you think of it from that perspective, yes, you will be let down. And yes, you will be psychologically a perfectly well-rounded victim for them. This is how they defeat you psychologically. We talked about this over a year ago in throughout the movement when people say they're going to mentally, they pay billions of dollars on psychological effects, and they pay billions of dollars to psychological uh, scientists and advisors, consultants to come and influence their platform, their trading platform, with such tactics and their algorithms with such tactics, so that what? So that you could be the victim to it. You were warned about it, and guess what? If you didn't, when you didn't know any of this, it's either you weren't listening, or it's either that you did really listened, but you just didn't know what was coming. It's okay. I forgive. You should forgive yourself, because if you are a first time investor since just last year or the last year and a half and whatnot, it's okay. It's fine. At least now you know. You know what I'm saying? Like now you know mentally how insidious they do. They have nothing, guys. They lost the battle long time ago. Their only hope is to play poker with you and go all in and hope that you fold and get BBIG'd. So let me delete these right here real quick so I can tie it all up for you as I've been doing right now. Guys, please, again, like I said, consider liking and subscribing to the channel and sharing this with other people. Many people need to see this. This is, I not only I haven't slept for like 15 hours all last night until this 11 o'clock this morning, tried to make this. I'm losing my voice even more and more. I did a whole stream before this thinking I was live, and I wasn't. So this is the second time I'm doing the live. All for the family and for everyone. I don't want anything from you guys or anything but the people's you know, recognition to the whole idea, and in the same time feed into this info so they can know what the other side is doing. So now we finished with Casablanca. Hopefully, obviously, I've been streaming this whole time. I will look right here and see if I've been streaming. Yes, for sure, so that I'm not going on wild. Oh, good. Hopefully, yeah, it looks like the live is going on. Sorry, I'm gonna come to the comments, guys, all of it now at the end, and I'm gonna back and forth with everybody. I just wanted everybody to see it over here. Let me see right here. Oh, this is a little too late, isn't it? I'll keep this. This is my notepad right here, which is the most important thing. This is what you need to see the most. If let me see this page. Yeah, you can see that page. Okay, you've seen all of it. Okay, so ultimately, I tied up for you guys what they're doing as far as for the stock lending. I said why Ryan Cohen, this is bullish for GME right here, planned and knew, covered all his bases from all these angles because he knows their game plan. And AB and B Investments gave you also their game plan. And instead of him having to come out and get sued out the ass for saying it, AB is saying it without anybody telling me this. So Ryan Cohen did not come and tell me any of this stuff. Although, like I still say it, if you are hearing this or if it reaches you, if you guys all share it, then please reach out to my Discord or on Twitter and let me know or give me some sort of hint. You love to tweet. I heard you love to tweet, so tweet out like an infamous message. I'll get the point. I've been understanding it all along. So now let's come to the multiple $1 million questions. One, round it up. Ryan Cohen, this stud right here bought this much. The board held down most of the shares, the insider shares. The investors are not selling their shares. They're not backing down. We understood how BlackRock, Vanguard, and many bigger institutes also and brokers are engaging constantly since many years ago. And I gave you the example with Cleveland and Casablanca, the takeover, and you saw how it worked out. Like, I mean, it was insane. And Ryan Cohen had all that in the back of his head. He knew that that's something that could happen. And that's why, one, he initially first, look how the steps correlate. Came in, brought his own board on GME from the right off the bat. Second, he went ahead and put his money where his mouth is and became the single largest holder of the company in amount of shares, so that these other bloodsuckers that we were showing earlier, BlackRock and Vanguard or whoever else as well, do not have access to many more shares to lend out to these shorters. Now, you also might be asking a question, well, how does that affect synthetics and whatever? It doesn't. This just adds more fuel to it. This adds way more gasoline on it, because no one can, until now, no bona fide proof from the authority, which again, we don't give too much hope in, the SEC. Nothing have come out to show that, oh, okay, look, Citadel is over leveraged by billions of shares, which shouldn't coexist, whether in AMC or GME. We know, we have a feeling, and we've seen the transactions to show that that has been the case, but the SEC and nothing has come out to prove that. But one thing we know 100% is that we own majority of the float in both those stocks. And the only way that these hedge funds would try to take you out or take these take these companies down is, one, you saw in the example of Casablanca in the overtake of the board by having a big position. This is why, again, he didn't allow, this is why he took this position. He didn't allow anybody to become the single largest entity holder in the GameStop. And in the same time, the voting rights were held down because since they hold most of the shares and the retail is holding the rest of also the majority of the shares, the lending, once people started getting educated past 2021 on turn off your stock lending program, go away from payment for order flow apps and everything and all this stuff, that helped, one, keep the price up at a higher level, which means when he finally came himself and gave you the final gift, he did it in a 4-to-1 stock split. Why is it a gift? Read on to this. On April 18th, GameStop announced its plan to split the stock. According to the company, the goal of this split is to increase its stock liquidity and thus make GameStop shares more accessible to retail investors. The stock split idea is part of the company's larger 2022 incentive plan. According to the company's proxy statement, the plan intends to support future compensatory equity issuance. According to GameStop, it is crucial that the plan be approved in order to continue to attract and retain and motivate company's high equity management team. So again, since the fundamentals are different for each one of those companies, GameStop knows that this is what it has. Ryan Cohen also knows this is what they have to work along with, but they don't want to dilute the shares to lose also the faith and the support of their following and the stock investors, the retail. But in the same time, he wants to encourage all the inside holders, the board as well, to hold more and buy more and hold. How? Through that incentive plan that they approved. So let's get to this. The real reason for a stock split. Perhaps one of the last terms a company's shareholder would like to hear is a stock dilution, correct? When issuing new shares, a dilution of the float reduces the ownership proportion of the shareholders. And even if the dilution is necessary to improve the company's stock going forward, it can sometimes be seen as a negative due to reduced voting power of the shareholders. Does that ring more bells to you? Again, did this stud right here know that Casablanca, of what happened to it? So he incorporated that by buying the shares, and as I said, the community holding and the insider and the boards all holding with their incentive plan. They're enticed to even buy more and hold more in the hopes of a future move, which is why they did the stock split. But in the same time, they didn't do a dilution. So that way, they also entice the customers or the people who can't buy. In the past many months, what was the GME volume? Any of you, whether GME investors or not, GME did what, like 2 million, 4 million at best a day in volume? Not many people can buy that. And the short interest on it is so high because they, like these bloodsuckers that I was showing earlier, they're not the top holders of the stock, or they don't own huge amounts. In the same time, it's so concentrated in between Ryan Cohen and the insiders and the retail holders of the stock. So they don't have much leeway there. So he knows that that's the case. How can he make it now more liquid again? And one, give the shorts one final ultimatum: cover before the stock split or suffer the consequence after. Why suffer the consequence after? We'll get to this right in this, like literally about just 1 minute. GameStop management announced last year that it would issue equity from time to time in a strategic manner, but how can it do this in a way that GameStop loyal shareholders won't interpret as FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt? Well, that's where GameStop came up with the brilliant idea of holding a vote on the stock split comes in. Well, why was, remember Casablanca being so confident about winning over Cleveland Cliffs? Well, sounds here to me that before they announced that stock split, Ryan Cohen had already had all the formulas put into place, covered all the bases, and he was very confident that they were going to get that vote across. How? Although the company says the main reason for holding the split is to increase GameStop liquidity, the truth is the split will add zero value to the company's fundamentals, 100%. However, it will have a psychological effect on investors because now people who couldn't get into GameStop at 152, at 38, they're like, yes, I can finally get into this. Like it's much more affordable. I could buy this right now. Unlike stock dilutions, stock splits tend to impact shareholder sentiment positively. There is even evidence of a correlation between stock splits and short-term bullish movement. Recent examples are like Alphabet, the parent company of Google, Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia, and Apple. Wow. You guys remember these stories and how they disclose, but the closest one to all of these, to GameStop and AMC, is Tesla, the story of them. And even that is not even doing it any justice. What's happened with GameStop and AMC and many of the other meme stocks have not ever have happened before, or never been as heavily concentrated on as like this before. So this is crazy, right? And they all benefited from short-term rallies in their share price. GameStop would most likely see the same thing. They should have. They have the following. They have the brand. They have the interest. They have people who think about GameStop. Millions of people out there. Forget the biased opinions and all that stuff. But why didn't they? Why did they today experience a dip? Them and AMC and the rest of the market and the meme stocks specifically. Because they're trying to pull another bbig on you and me. And are you guys going to fall for this? Are you guys going to call their bluff? Or are you going to fold? Because I'm not folding shit. Please put it in the comment section, because when I get to this, I will read all of them and I will see it after I finish this. Because this is exactly what they're hoping on. They're so... I'm sorry for cussing, guys. Sorry, Lord, for cussing. They're so fucked. They are so fucked that they're coming down. Their whole hope is coming down to a freaking poker game style of psychology. Call you out, like bluff you out of your position. In the bottom line, because GameStop is highly volatile stock, positive news tends to have a big impact on its share price, and a stock split can undoubtedly be interpreted as a positive catalyst for GameStop stock. So please, guys, any shills out there, if they approach you, or any unknowledgeable individuals that don't understand what the hell happened with the stock split and whatever, stop listening or caving into this idiocy about dilution, because it's not dilution. If it's dilution, you're not going to be getting shares. They're splitting your share to give you more in order for you to have the same value, but also make it more accessible to others to come in. That's not dilution. You want to welcome that. You want more volume. What kicks off? What is the fire and the gasoline to kick off short squeezes? Buying pressure, which when it goes up, Ryan Cohen, who understands GameStop shareholders like few others, may have found the perfect way to align the company's management desires, its incentive plan, with GameStop shareholders' desires, the stock split. He basically have an equal happiness. It's beneficial to both sides, to the company and to the shareholders. Why is he tying all that up? Sorry. I need to relax a little bit because, again, I'm so emotional for everyone, for the movement, and for all of this. So why this gentleman right here overall ultimately was the freaking man, and he is the stud? Because one, you want to welcome people to come in and buy the stock. GameStop has been at a deadlock, no volume whatsoever. These guys up there are lending their shares to the shorters, and making money on the lending fees. The shorters are constantly shorting, and they're constantly making more, hypothetically speaking, synthetics and naked shares and rehypothecations of the shares. But this gives them an ultimatum. This is why you don't see it. This is why I said earlier, this is a form of a dividend. When you later on, you will reap the benefits of. It depends on how you think of it. Why? Because now, when you have one share, think of it like this, ladies and gentlemen, and pay attention real close. When I said pay attention to the $38 valuation in the beginning of the stream, I made sense to it. If 38 times 4 was $152, he was giving the shorts in that moment the one final opportunity to go ahead and close their shorts at that price and get out then. Why would they want to get out then? Because now that you have 4 shares and they have 4 amount of shorts that they have to cover at this evaluation. But what did we just talk about? By GME's price being reachable now, more buying pressure comes in. More buying pressure comes in, price goes up. When price goes up, what happens? Margin calls eventually at some point gets called. If a GME doesn't get another pushback to whatever, let's say $100, $120 again, and you got 4, if you sold 1 share at 152, which was yesterday before the stock split, 1 share at 152, just if you wanted to sell, let's say this squeeze happened back yesterday, not today, and it's close to, hypothetically speaking here, $2,000. That's not my bracket or anything, I'm just choosing a number. $2,000. You sell 1 share for $2,000, that's just $2,000 right there. That's it. Now, yes, there is a stock split. The shares go back to 38. But as the price goes up and hedge funds eventually start get margined, because you see again, BlackRock, banks, profits down. It's not profitable no more. The whole scheme that I broke down throughout the whole pyramid scheme that I was showing you as well and broke down, speaking to you about it. As these prices go up, they're going to be calling back shares. People are going to get margined. When covering goes through, price escalates, goes up to the sky. Now, let's say that after they begin closing their positions and the price goes up to another hypothetical number, $2,000 again. You now have 4 instead of 1. When you multiply 4 shares, multiply by $2,000 a share, again, all hypothetical here, that's equivalent to $8,000. That's $6,000 more than what you had if the squeeze took place yesterday before the stock split. This is what I meant, ladies and gentlemen, by this is a form of a dividend, but you will only reap it in the future when you understand the game of chess that these people are playing amongst all of them. I literally feel my ears back here, my tonsils are gone. I literally, guys, I put everything into this. None of this is, again, financial advice. It's just for the family and for everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and start just seeing where the comments are, or what people were saying, or what they said, and I'm gonna start here. Hopefully you enjoyed all the content. Please, guys, again, like I said, consider sharing it. Please share it. Please consider subscribing and liking the video so more and more people can see it. If you're not sharing it, at least like it so that more people can see it and get to it. And when you see anyone out there bringing out to you stuff that kind of doesn't make sense, but it hints to something like this, please, if they don't give out no credit or nothing, please please go ahead and give them right there. I hold, as much as I hold myself accountable, I did 2 live streams today for you, one that you didn't see and one that you finally see. I didn't sleep all last night till 11 this morning for all this. And I don't want nothing from you guys. I don't need anything from you. I don't need any of you. You guys don't need me. But I want all of you. And I hope that you want me as well in return. And all I ask in return is to get this message across, because I didn't put all that time and effort into that, to put it in or at least articulate on it in this demeanor instead of just making a video by me talking. I wanted to show you everything. You guys are very, very, very smart individuals and apes, and I have people like my great friends of Pantheon and even Super Steven and Boss Blunts, Tony Denaro, Casey Shaw. These people have put the standards and raised the bar up so much higher for everybody entitled, and that is because they hold themselves to a higher standard, and I must hold myself to a higher standard, and I also ask you to hold yourself to a higher standard. Don't be part of these games that feed into the drama in between channels and all this stuff, but be part of the solution and check any wrong saying and any wrongdoing. I just literally gave you this whole time, this whole thing, my tonsils, everything, my sleep, my time, my everything, away from my business, all to what? To break to you guys that overall, how they're playing the game, how they screwed over bbig in detail, how they tried to do it today with GME, and I bet you, fact check me, on the day of the earnings, you're going to see the same similar things with AMC, because now we freaking know what their overall plan is. When you're no longer in the dark, as in, okay, we always had the conviction in these plays, but we always had fear at the end of every day. What is it that they are doing that we don't know about? Simply, ladies and gentlemen, after this long live stream, and after all this breakdown and all these tonsils, hopefully you understood that they have nothing in the back of their pockets. In fact, their cards are nothing but a bluff. And I'm personally speak for myself. I am not a financial advisor. I will not advise anybody to do whatever. This is just my personal opinion on my personal channel. I will call their fucking bluff. And I will go all fucking in on it, calling all their bluff, because I see it. They did the same thing with bbig on this date, and now I see it. They did the same thing on the day of the split, the stock split with GME. And every time in the past, if you look back, you've seen on earnings, we've seen red afterwards. A lot of people said, why are we seeing red? AMC had great earnings. Why is it red? Doesn't it all link in together? Let me say hi to people and stop and maybe survive this. Hold back my tonsils. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, how many? Oh, can I even scroll up? Yeah, I can. Hopefully I can, as the owner of the channel. I can scroll back up. Well, at least to a certain extent, they're letting me. Veronica Chase, so true. Orlando Smith. I believe that's the only place they let me go as far as at least as far as back I can go. But I will afterwards, ladies and gentlemen. I will go when the stream gets posted and the live chats get posted again. I will go back and look at all from the beginning. I promise. Orlando Smith, appreciate you, brother. Mikey J, I'm fired up. Hopefully, I measured up to the standards, or I didn't disappoint. I just hope that. Um, Same for you, Mrs. Chase. Jordan Arius. Wait, so what's going to happen to AMC? Well, I know I'm getting to the comment now. I'm pretty sure you got the answer to it, but the same thing is going to happen to AMC. We actually need to be even more bullish with AMC, because I just broke down GME's, like, because of people talking about the stock split. Is it a dividend? Is it a dilution? Is what? I put all that to bed. Anybody else that brings up no bullshit about this, please send them to this video, to this live, and don't feed into that BS that is floating around here and there. And again, for AMC and all, they have nothing. They're bluffing. They're bluffing clearly, and their only strategy is to try to dip you on the most anticipated dates. Whenever we're anticipating bullish news, expect red. Why? Because that is what they've been prepping you up for. They want you to adopt the idea of catalyst. Catalyst. Oh yes, that day means that's when we squeeze. Let me go and YOLO in on options. Some people would think that way. Some people will say that's the day we're going to squeeze. And when you're met with red, guess what? You're met with overall and overwhelming emotional disappointment. And at that point, you go back to square one. And over 2 years of constant ways of doing that, overall, most people cave in. Mentally, they cave into this. If this stream didn't fucking fire you up more and reinstate it, if you had some fire and it's dimming out or it's dimmed out, if this didn't freaking fire you the fuck up, sorry for all the F words, guys, but it's not every day you're gonna see me like this. So if this didn't fire you up, I don't know what else will. Dips Patel, what's up, brother? Thank you, AB, for everything you have done and continue to do for us. Moas party seems to be getting closer. Yes, indeed, brother. Goonie, what's up, my goon? What's up, brother? Oh my God! So my boy Pantheon was in here. How are you, brother? It's a long documentary. Well, it has to be. It has to be Goonie. It has to be. I can't bring you 2 minutes of this is that without breaking down all the stuff so you can see it, so you can feel it, and you can drench it in, and you can remember it afterwards too, step by step, not just some words. See, unemotional and just random videos. Oh, in a couple days, all this is going to be finished. They're going to close their positions. You're going to be filthy rich. We're going to meet in Vegas. How many times? As many times as you hear that, you'll forget it. A week, 2, 3 weeks later, you're going to forget it. Why? Because it's just rambling. There's nothing to prove. Nothing in that talk. It's just talk. As appreciative as it is, as it feeds more hopeism to people who needs it or whatever, yeah, maybe that's good. But in my world, hell no. I don't feed into that. I don't give people that. And I like to give you something that a solid rock to stand on, not no hope of and then you need me. When is AB gonna come back on to save the world or to talk? The next 3 days. Okay, well, it's not these 3 days. The next 2 3 weeks. Okay, you know what happened in the background. You know I'm talking to you. Like, none of that stuff for 2 years can freaking. Eventually, it adds more of the problem. We see what these hedge funds are trying to do psychologically, how they're attacking us, exactly where they're going to attack you, and that does not help. All this BS on the side. Oh, look at this squeeze, TBLT crap movement, and all this stuff. These are like breadcrumbs compared to the potential of these plays that we're in. Nothing is going to ever measure up close to these plays. Um, in my humble opinion, I need to relax. In my humble opinion, I'm not a financial advisor, so that's just in my opinion. Oh, Lance Smith drops like a stone. Most of these comments now probably might not even make as much sense to me because it was written at a moment where it's probably covering something else. But I know that my family here would not have something that's not in my best interest. Excuse me, guys. Olan Smith. The thumbnail looks like a tear in a paper with Olan Smith. Pantheon, we can't see the whole screen. Can you minimize the camera? I am so sorry, brother. I am so sorry. You want to do this a third stream? No, 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 no. Don't leave, all of you. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Pantheon, I have access to you at any given time, brother. Anything you want from me, I can show you, I can give you, um, and any of that. And for that matter, any of you, if you guys want any links or anything to anything, all the other links they were like, some of them were articles from 2014. I just had to dig in archives to overall bring up what I wanted to articulate in a way that I articulated it to you guys. It wasn't something where like, oh, okay, this is what is happening here. Obviously, I knew what I was looking for. I brought it up. I looked exactly for what I needed to back up what I'm telling you, and I showed it to you. And ultimately, all this stuff are speculation of AB investments, no one else, or no financial advice. Um, Hopefully, it made sense. GME and executive called it a dividend. It wasn't all shills. Uh, at the point back then, I believe that's what it came out in the first announcement. It came out, I remember it was supposed to be a 3-to-1 stock split dividend. However, when it eventually happened, we know that it was 4-1. So things changed between that time. How in the same time, by the end of this, well, I'm pretty sure now I'm covering this old comment, Pantheon or everyone else. Um, this is, as I broke down at the end to you guys, this is a form of a dividend on the right time. When the right time comes, you just earned 4 times the amount that you're supposed to. Because if the shorts don't cover now, again, as I said before in the short thesis, the same thing with a stock split. They also, there's quadruple as well. So if they had 100 shares short, 400 shares that they have to cover whenever they have to cover their position at the reduced price. If they choose not to cover at the reduced price, guess what they would have to cover? 400 at whatever price they're uh, forced to cover at, which means more money for the people who are selling 4 shares instead of 1. Jordan Ariuz, I mean, it doesn't cost to hold. Uh, it only costs me to buy when I want to. Monty Berger, dealing with similar situations in MMTLP, they filed the S1 for approval, and the stock dumped over 25% the next day. Um, you guys see that's another example. I just wanted to bring up bbig, guys, because I had to bring one up that majority of the community have heard of, because there was a big push for bbig, and that's not meaning that it's over, necessarily. I don't know the sentiment of the people, but given where it went to, the way that they viciously got it, and from all angles, from holdings, from positions, from the timings of executions, the board screwed over its investors entirely. I mean, it was just terrible. So I am inclined to think that most people caved in for that. But guess what? That gave birth to understanding what they're also doing, what they're going to do to GME and AMC as well. Oh, Lance Smith, they can't see a lot. AB, minimize your face. Sorry, guys. Well, hopefully it was somewhat okay. Straight talk with AMC Phil. What you figure out? They need to cover the additional shares, just not until they close their position. Yep. Yeah, Monty Barger. It's the same thing. So the new shares are part of the original position. So if instead of 100, again using the same example, if instead of 100 short shares that they bought and sold short on the market, 4-1 stock split means now they're 400. Whenever they go back to buy to close their short position, there's no more 100 in the equation. Now the float became 4 times bigger, meaning they have to buy back 400 shares, but at the reduced price, at the split price. Hopefully this makes sense. At the split price. So if they were to close their shares today, they will be buying 400 shares to close at $38 a piece when it first opened up, which if you do 400 times 38 is the same amount as 100 times 152. Pull out your calculators, do it. I bet you it's going to be the same number. But that's why I said it's the gift from me at the end and from this stud right here, Ryan Cohen. Um, we know, and he knows that instead they're going to try to bluff everyone, and they're not going to cover their position. Instead, they're going to double down on it and short even more and have selling pressure on it as they did today throughout the market, as we've seen. And guess what that is for people who see it coming, like me. I've seen this coming now. I know what they're doing. I enjoyed the shit out of that dip on across the mark, across the board. I'm calling their bluff because eventually, when the price is much higher than 38 and you got to multiply it by 400, that's a completely different case. It is a situation to get screwed, which ultimately takes you to phase 5. I have the video of phase 5, view it. They won't be able to do nothing about that. It will be put into somebody's lap to take care of. PV, how are you, brother? Mikey J, what is Ryan Cohen's job title? He's the chairman of the board. He's on the board of GME. Ryan Cohen is chairman of GME. Matt Forlong is the CEO. Yep. Stacia, what's up, Coiler? How are you doing? Arthur. Well, don't worry. I'm just now getting to your comment, brother. Well, hopefully you'll enjoy the stream. Grismo, it's lovely to see my family all in here. Peter Jefferson, lovely as always as well to see you, sir. Joe Jet, never fold, diamond hands. Monty Barker, I am not effing leaving. PV V said they're so say it. It's Friday. And Mikey J is like, I sold myself, but I'm not leaving. Oh my god. Not folding, not folding. They are so F up. Veronica, you couldn't even say it anymore. You're dead right, sis. PV, are you fatigued, guys? That's not for me to say. You know the guy that says it, but that was good that you brought it in here. But that's a boss line, so it rolls off better with him. But if he was to ask me, and if you guys were to ask me, my answer is F no. I'm more fired right now. Yes, Dips Patel, let them know we are not leaving. Mr. Nickel, we've waited too long. Seen too much crap. We wait till it squeezes. That's all. I'm sorry, I'm still emotionally fired up. Pantheon, the less shares available on the market makes it easier for hedge funds to manipulate the stock. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, my friend. And that's why GMEs and this guy in the picture right here that you're looking at, they didn't let that be the case. And more importantly, they made sure that majority of that is in-house, not out there in their hands so that they can only do so much. That's why I said they're so effed. They're so effed. And they constantly, like they're banking, literally guys, they're banking on bluffing you to fold. If you fold, don't blame the system. Don't blame the corruption. Blame yourself ultimately. Honestly, that's not giving them an okay pass for what they do. Of course, illegal is illegal and it's wrong. But if they fold you, out of your position, if they get you to fold, you're the one who's making that choice. And that's what they're targeting. Psychologically and mentally, that's what they're aiming for. And that's what they're targeting. You guys all in here don't seem like any of you in here are either fatigued or folders or anything. You guys look like poker gurus. Mrs. Gloria, nice to see you. PV, what do you mean by sell button? I don't understand. Mikey J, this has been an amazing stream. Well, from the bottom of my heart, it means the world to me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope, again, I didn't disappoint because that's exactly what I intended for it to be. I appreciate you, Mikey. Thank you. I sold the sell button when I went to sell shares. I gotta buy it back first. Well, now you gotta buy 4 of them if you're in GAB. As far as for AFC, at least now we know, guys, 100%. Like this is like, what they're gonna do. And again, if you know the punch is coming and you know where it's coming from, you know how to protect yourself from it, and you know how to just block it or dodge it. Better yet, you would know what to do. I'm gonna stop right here. As emotional I am not gonna put myself in prison. Who knows? After this stream, I might get uh who knows, some freaking crap might ban my channel, or they might close it down, or they might reach to me. But as I said before, uh I said this to a one of my friends in this movement as well. She's, God bless her heart, she gave me a good advice, and I told her that, hey, yeah, sometimes I do say controversial things and all that stuff, because I say what's on my mind. What's here and here, it's over here. I don't sugarcoat stuff. I don't filter stuff. I don't have a certain agenda or whatsoever. I am very constant, and my main reason is for not like I don't need the YouTube channel, but I do need to reach out to my people, to the family, to more people in the community, because your best interest is my best interest. My best interest is your best interest till the day of the squeeze. I'm telling you, I don't bullshit. I don't lie. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm invested in something much, 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 much bigger than this. This is not the life I'm invested in, guys. I'm a God's man, and that's what matters to me the most. So no matter what it is that I say, unless it's harmful to someone else, I'm gonna say it. If it's the truth, I'm gonna freaking say it. And if it comes down to even me get get so scrutinized, they chop me down, whatever, kill me, imprisonate me, or whatever. What can they do that my Savior and my Creator up above can't do for me? What are they? If He's on my side, what are they to do? They're nothing but weak humans. Everyone is. I am a weak human. We all are. Again, I'm not implying my beliefs on you guys. These are just my beliefs. So I don't want you to feel like, oh, he's about to walk us into a religious lecture. But I'm just letting you I'm giving you more of an insight on me, so you get to know who you're listening to. If you didn't know before, now you know. If you're coming in for the first time, now you're getting to know me better. The more I speak, the more you know better. When the individual talks and you listen, you get to know them more, because they're speaking every sentence, every word that they speak out is in can give you more insight on who they are on the inside. And as for hedge funds and for BlackRocks and Vanguards, you just follow their transactions, and Goldman's and whatever, just follow their transactions, and you know their intentions and what they really have in heart. Whatever they say does not match what they have in here. Arthur, no spoilers. Drew SJ, thank you for your work, bro. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Mikey Station. AB, we'll share this with family and friends. Thank you, Veronica, as always. You're one of my cornerstones. I swear to God. God bless you. Thank you. PV, Twitter suspended my account permanently for shitting on Jim. God knows what they'll do to me after this. It's okay, brother. It's okay. There's only so much they can do. You know, there's a thing that people say, like, you might have to do some explaining here and there, but once you're rich, filthy freaking fucking rich, you can see that I don't like cussing because it's coming off awkward from me, but I have to now. It's just calling for it. Not every day is today. When you're freaking filthy rich, you don't need to explain shit. Rich people don't explain shit. Now that's this world. Is that AB? Hell fucking no. Again, I'm not into the materialistic things, but hell yeah, I would love to have it so I can be in a position of influence, and possibly if everybody in the movement are in a position of influence, an actual strong position of influence, they could actually go at that point, we can influence a bigger change within the system, the ecosystem that we live in, because we demand it and we have the means to request it and get it implemented. Outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Panulo. Thank you, Charisma. Appreciate you. The coiled queen. We appreciate your sacrifice. Oh no, it's not no sacrifice. It's but I appreciate it, brother Charisma. Appreciate you. Ah, looks like I reached the bottom. Well, that maybe that's because yeah, I have to refresh this. There we go. Now I can see. Who else do we have in here? For I go ahead and Tendy Lion. How are you, sir? Nice to see you in here. Miss Gloria, win tequila shots. Buckeye Ace, thank you. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Veronica says, yes, AV, this will place in someone's lap. Yeah, you guys know. If you watch phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, Mrs. Veronica knows whose lap is going to land in. Same here, too. I don't like the mind games because I too keep it real, too, because at the end of the day, good flight's my battle. God fights my battles, not good flights. Lack of sleep, lack of food, lack of energy, and lack of tonsils will do that to you. AB, we're close. WWE Vince McMahon retired today. Oh wow, that's bullish news. That's Pantheon's guy. We're gonna be so fucking rich. You're right, BB. Bro made the bank from America last year. I know a couple of people that did. I didn't. I was hoping to get into it, but there was everything. There was so many to get into it, PB. Whether it was between Doge, Sundial, tlry, Bed Bath and Beyond, koss did crazy for me. It was like all these. Zematica was one. I have a friend who actually made bank from it, and he was also he was actually a, the neighbor's business. He was an employee at Gold Star, and since Zematica obviously in the pennies, he loaded up like heavy on it, and ended up making like 280 grand off of it, and went back the next day to Gold Star, the restaurant. And he told the boss, because the boss was very shrewd. He was a terrible guy, old man, and he just was very, very not okay, happy with, or not good with his employees. He just straight up went to him and said, I fuck you, I quit. I don't condone stuff like that because you got to respect your elders no matter what. Because one day it's going to be you. God knows what has happened with people's lives, but at the end of the day, he still did that, and it's just to measure up to your story as well. All those gains threw into AMC. Don't sell. Didn't sell in June last year. Same here. Got several margin calls from wife. I know that. Still didn't sell. Made her guy. Uh, made her buy. Not me more AMC for my V day. Wow, what a legend. What a legend. Jordan Arius. I missed everything past BlackRock, Vanguard, etc. Oh my god. So basically with all the ever you hold. Yeah, but Jordan, you definitely want to see the whole thing again. If obviously you want to, it's up to you. It's hold for sure is always a part of the whole equation. I don't advise anybody on their money, like what to do with it. That's the general sentiment. That's what affects their pyramid scheme. But there's a lot more to goes into it because you have to understand what, like, how they do it, what they do it with, by what, and you got to see their actions because that's what tells you what they're going to do next, or that's where their head is at. And once we know where their head is at, that's to me, that's all I need from my opponent. I just need to know where his head is at. Does he have a special move he want to pull out in a fight or something that I'm not anticipating? But once I know, I can predict. That's why they call it sizing up. Once I size you up, you size me up, I already have a good idea. Okay, let's get into it now. What would be a guess if you were given one, Dandelion, when we start seeing big movements? I know you don't like to do that, but curious. Dandelion, if you don't mind, please go and check out the phases from 1 to 5. They're shorter video, well, much shorter videos than this live, of course. And it kind of will break it down because everything can change based on the events. The events that happen help form or help you gauge what where we at, like where you at, you know. For example, 2021 was a bull market. Everything was going up for non-fundamental reasons. Everything was just going up. The feds pumping the market left and right, giving more money to these black rocks and these vanguards through repo and reverse repo operations, and to these banks, giving them more liquidity to go buy more shares so that they can make bigger positions and then come back, sell, dump, make a lot of pump and dump schemes, return the money that by the next day that they owe, but keep the profits. With profits, they go make more, further make their positions bigger in whatever assets, and turn on that stock lending right away. ASAP. That's exactly what they do. So stupid though. At the end of the day, when you think of it, these guys are not complex. These guys are idiotic, and their whole shit is not only stinks, but you can see it now. And as far as any place that can leverage it, like this couldn't be done any better. This stud in this picture, guys, right here, he deserves his credit. I know for a fact this is like for me for a fact. Well, he didn't talk to me obviously, and I don't know, but these actions that I broke down today, I know that all this was part of his plan, exactly the way I broke it and the way I said it. Fact check me on these when the stuff happens and it goes down. Everybody's gonna be happy when they got 4 extra shares out of nowhere now, when the price is a completely much different. Because at the end of the day, if the shorts choose not to cover, no problem, then you shouldn't worry about the stock split. Now you have 4 shares instead of the one at a lesser cost that is equivalent when you multiply all of them together to the original cost, but the price doesn't stay the same. Either it goes down or up. Now, if you put yourself in those shoes, to what direction is it going to move to? Who's going to scoop up these shares? Are people going to buy GME? I don't know. But according to that article that I showed you guys earlier, studies show that that's the case with Tesla, Amazon, Nvidia, Apple. Who else? I miss anybody? Well, a few more, but those are the most important ones. And all that happened with them. They did that, and that turned out to be very good because now the people that can't even buy it now can afford it. And the people who want to buy more and couldn't afford to add more to their positions, now they can buy more at 38. But since if the buying pressure continues to stack up, then price goes up. Once you multiply 4 shares, multiply by that figure, it's gonna be higher than what you were beginning with 1 share. Correctly? Again, as I broke earlier, 1 times whatever figure is equivalent to that figure. If that figure was 10,000 a share, Then 1 times 10,000, that's 10,000. You got 10,000. But now post split, if they choose not to cover, no problem. He's saying no problem. We're saying no problem. Don't cover. Wait for it to get you margined. And then I would be selling for, if it does go back up, let's say it goes up to 10,000 again, because there's no such thing as it can't or whatnot. People just have to buy that float up. So if it gets bought up again and price goes up, some hedge funds get like a Melvin Capital situation, which we know the market right now, even BlackRock's and the major Goldman Sachs and the big JP Morgan's and Morgan Stanley's are taking losses. So is there a big chance that somebody is going to recall shares that they lent out? Possibly. Is there a big chance that somebody would get margin soon because they can't keep paying those fees? Possibly. That's why the rest of the market, it's not in their best interest to have the rest of the market also red. That's why you see these random weird green days that come out of nowhere for the rest of it. This is the plunge protection team making sure that these other stocks like the Amazons, the Shopify's, the Microsofts are not dipping even lower, perhaps causing somebody's portfolio to default or to get margined, because they're short on us, but where are they also invested? In the rest of the market. They're over leveraged across the whole market. When the whole market is effed and the rest of their holdings are effed, eventually their short position gets margined. So plunge protection team jumps in, tries to make sure that that does not happen from time to time. But again, when it becomes unprofitable completely, and we're inching there, ladies and gentlemen, we're inching there. Shares starts to get gobbled up. Let's say the price, again, as the same hypothetical example I gave earlier, goes up to 10,000. 4 times 10, that's 40,000. So 40,000, last time I checked with my math, is much higher than $10,000 if you only had. Again, I hope all that made sense. And also, with that being said, TV Phil for real says, "Did the shorts cover?" Yeah, that's a pickup line that he got. It's a very catchy one. PV. Oh, how did that March 3rd go? So you're one of the OGs, PV. I like it. What is this? Old coffee. Excuse me. It was fantastic. March 3rd was around the time, if you're referring to March 3rd, 2021, that was around the time when I logged in sick amounts of plays on something in a certain way that ended up going even way crazier in June. We'll keep it that way. I need to learn more about options. What the hell? You was like you were reading my mind. That's what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to say it because again, I don't want to influence people to just go ahead and jump right in to that, because options is very dangerous. You need definitely to cover up every base of it before you jump in it. You need to understand all the Greeks, what their situation, how they factor into the contract, whether put or call or other ones too. There's there's the straddles, there's the strangles. There's so many different ways. It's not just that. There's covered calls, there's uncovered calls. There's so much that goes into it. Most people tend to just go for that random, just uncovered call straight up or uncovered put straight down. Let's go. Which is the base. But again, to each situation is different, and there's different risk analysis that also accompanies each one. So you definitely have to go into it, and it's not going to be an overnight thing, unfortunately. But uh, it's the riskiest thing. So therefore, that's why. Well, besides shorting, it's the second riskiest thing. fact, the riskiest thing is to sell uncovered calls, you know, because you open up yourself on an option level to it's like kind of a short in an option because people confuse option like puts with short. Buying puts is not shorting the stock in a way. It's actually predicting that, you know, that the shares or the stock is going to go down instead of going up. So you're not necessarily selling shares on the market. You're not buying shares and selling them short, which is that's what shorting is. As far as for an uncovered sold put or an uncovered sold call, that's in equivalence to short in an options world, and that could make people go and literally take their own lives if they end up on the wrong end of one. Perhaps like those shorts that that jump in out of their windows, the high buildings and whatever in Wall Street. It's unfortunate, but you did it to yourself, homie. I had 12 2024 calls on GME. Now I have 48. Feels really good. So you Tendy line, you paid attention to the what happens also with the with right here with what happens with the option players. So you get now 4 times the options and a fourth and the fourth of a strike. So it get the amount of the strike gets adjusted as well. So that it's equivalent to the starting point of the split, which was 152 down to 38. Similar here to this, whatever that value of the strike was, and all that gets factored in. But by who knows, by 2024, if the price is higher than 38 and whatever the strike price you bought, again, you don't have to share. Don't I would prefer you not sharing, because again, I don't want people to jump into stuff and, you know, that they don't know unless they understand and they would have a different say on it or a different talk. And different way to go about it other than you. Probably that's your way, but you know, everybody's different. So I would rather keep it that way. You don't want somebody's blood on your hands. So yes, so like, so basically now if the price goes much higher, let's say if the price surges, now you have 4 times the contract. Um, may the Lord pay it off for you, brother. FJRP, FJR Pilot, NC. Thank you, AB. This is good shit. Appreciate you, brother. That's what I hoped that it would be, and nothing less. And also, where is the one individual that I want to specifically also make this video for? Sugaro? Hopefully, this answers the quick question. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I have to definitely, after getting all that off my chest for the second time, I have to uh, go ahead and get some food, and I have to eventually get some sleep later. It's been awesome. I'm glad that I was able to bring all this up to you guys, the best to the best of my knowledge and the best of my abilities twice. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If again, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel if you haven't. By liking, that way more people see it. I want the information to go out there. As much hard work as I put on this, I want people to see more of this. Many more people. It doesn't matter at the end of the day which person you are. I don't feed into this whole cult mindset of I am team blue or I'm team red or I am this. This is not a game. This is not a sports game or whatnot. This is people's livelihood and this is money. So if you're into something, this is trading. It's a trading game. It has nothing to do with nothing. If you, God forbid, if you were to pass away tomorrow, AMC or GME, they're not gonna stop their operations just for you. Doesn't matter which company you're investing in. And I know the same thing for me. That's the case. So therefore, keep it mutual. It's all business at the end of the day. Yes, we love our stocks. We have to. We support the fundamentals of our companies. We like to, whether in AMC, go to the movies, buy tickets. Either way, whether we invested in the movie or not, but it helps even more. Buy the products, buy the pop, buy the popcorn. You're there. Might as well, instead of buying it from somewhere else. I know it's a little bit more, but it's cost of operation and cost of good. Same thing with GME. If you're an investor, support your fundamentals in that company. That's, again, just a word of advice as far as fundamentals, not stock advice. At the end of the day, you guys all make your own financial decisions, and that's why I say that this is not no sports game or my team versus your team kind of stuff. This mindset, unfortunately, guys, I'll tell you this mindset, I don't know, it came out sometime in 2021, and it became much worse as we got to this point because people have not much to talk about. I believe they're so mentally destroyed from the hedge funds and the corruption and manipulation that is happening around, and nothing is being done about it. So therefore, they turn on what? To themselves, to take it out on themselves. Okay, who can I take it out on? Since I keep barking at GG and he's not doing nothing, and Kenny G and nothing is happening. Okay, you AMC holder, come here. Your shares, your company sucks, or vice versa. The AMC guy is like, oh yeah, you're an afterthought to GME. This is so stupid. This is so stupid. This doesn't have to be there. I don't know where that came from. This is not an investor's mindset. I don't care who it is on that, on both sides of that crap. But hold yourself to a higher standard. You have to be a trader, not an investor. Not no. I don't know. I've said enough on that, so you know what's up. Thank you, Veronica, PV, and Sagato again. Like I said, hopefully that answers that quick question. Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate your attending. And with that being said, may the Lord bless all of us and help us in this movement and get us across that line and make us wealthy, freaking rich, and provide us with more and more and more, many more of his blessings. Much love, ladies and gentlemen. AB Investments.